Pen and paper.
You have the green paper tag. You know, I thought about that earlier. I'm like, was I drinking that?
Hello?
Good morning. Rico Petro's on the line.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
You can mute if you want.
She might say something. So.
I want my picture big. I get that picture bigger. I get it big.
It's bigger for them. It's small like that for you. But you can always just cook up.
Did click on.
Good morning. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Before we get started, a couple of housekeeping rules. Please keep your microphones on mute until you hear your docket call. Once your docket is called, you will hear a brief description of your docket case. Then you will be sworn in. Please identify yourself first and last name, your relationship to the property, and that'll be Mr. Chairman. We can get started with the preamble.
In compliance with notification requirements of Ohio's open meeting law in section 101.021 of the codified ordinances of Cleveland, Ohio, 1796, notice of this meeting has been publicly posted. All boards and commissions under the purview of the city planning department conduct their meetings according to Robert's Rules of Order. Actions during the meeting will be taken by a voice vote. Abstentions from any vote due to a conflict of interest should be stated for the record before the taking of any vote. In order to ensure that everyone participating in the meeting has the opportunity to be heard, we ask that you use the raise hand feature before asking a question or making a comment. The raise hand feature can be found in the participants panel on the desktop and mobile versions and activated by clicking the hand icon. Please wait for the chair or facilitator to recognize you and be sure to select unmute and announce yourself before you speak. When finished speaking, please lower your hand by clicking on the raise hand icon and mute your microphone. We will also use the chat feature to communicate with participants. The chat feature can be activated by clicking the chat button located at the bottom of the WebEx screen. All meeting activity is being recorded by way of the WebEx platform. These proceedings are also being live streamed by way of YouTube. All requests to speak on a particular matter by way of our website and email have been considered. We have also received emails from those who have provided written comments on a particular matter. Mr. Jacobson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is Dan Jacobson from the Law Department. Preliminary issues, the live stream. Can we verify that the live stream is on and functioning?
Through the chair, yes.
Thank you. And Mr. Chairman, as the Law Department has done since these public meetings have gone virtual and or hybrid, law states its objection to the use of the chat function. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Davis.
Mr. Bradley,
Here.
Mr. Maschke,
Here.
Mr. Dink,
Here.
Mr. Gallagher.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, we'll call the first dockets, billing docket A 201-24, 2104 West 25th Street. We are also going to call building docket A 202-24, 2098 West 25th Street at the same time.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
we do have Council President Blaine Griffin on this morning. His docket is docket 206-24. Did you want to proceed with council first, or did you want to go in the order of the agenda?
No, I want to go ahead and take Councilman Griffin's first. So we're going to, instead of opening those first two, we're going to go to building docket A 206-24, 2830 MLK Junior Drive.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is condemnation of the main structure. Issued on August 15th of 2024. Appeal was received on September 19th of 2024, requesting for 6 months to complete abatement of the violations. Present for today's hearing, Chief Billing Official Tom Vanover, Dan Jacobson Law. Mr. Chairman, we do have several members of the community present in room 514 this morning. Would you like them to come up to the table, and would you accept testimony from them on this docket as well?
I'll accept testimony from them on the docket. So I'm not sure if all of them are going to speak. Those that do plan on speaking, I'm going to go ahead and swear them in. Anyone else on this one that's going to be doing any speaking, we'll go ahead and swear. Do we have a spokesperson for the property? An appellant?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, Laura. Yeah, Laura Mills on behalf of JSC.
Okay. All right, so all those.
Mr. Chairman, we
Yes.
also have Carl Barney from Landmarks Commission present this morning as well. So you guys can come up to the table. Yeah. So it's just gonna be you guys speaking?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so all those that are going to be giving testimony, raise your right hand. And do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I do.
I do.
Yes.
Lane Graham.
Okay, so we have everybody. Very good. Councilman, do you wish to speak first? Or do you want to wait till the end?
I would go ahead and start off if you like, because I may have to step out to go to a doctor's appointment.
You have the floor. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Ms. Davis, and thank you to the Landmarks Commission. I have been advocating ferociously for approximately the last 2 years to get this building torn down. This building is in the middle of an area where we're trying to make a tremendous amount of investment, and this building continues to deteriorate by the day. I have people who are now starting to take their children out of Benedictine High School, which is a prominent high school, because of this building and the unsafe conditions that it presents to the community. We have tried several times to get someone to try to renovate it or look at it or do anything that they can, and it has failed multiple times. We think that this building needs to come down. It is in the middle of a major intersection. And once again, it is in an area where we're trying to make a tremendous amount of investment. I really believe that it is truly unfair and unconscionable that anybody will allow this building to be in the middle of an area that has this kind of a historical context and allow it to fall into disrepair. Some of the former tenants or owners have shared with me that some of the asbestos issues and other things are so overwhelming that it would be a tremendous amount of money to renovate. And once again, this building is really, really an impediment to the Cleveland Clinic Children's Hospital, Benedictine High School, the neighbors on the Buckeye Shaker area. And it is really is really lending to the deteriorating conditions of the entire area. I fervently ask for this board to allow for us to move forward to tear this building down, because this building is not only impeding progress, it is unsafe, it is unsightly, and it is causing tremendous amount of hurt and harm to our community. That's all I have to say, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you for your comments, Councilman. Well, I guess we'll move to first to speak, probably Ms. Mills. Is that correct? Are you going to give the comments?
Yeah, I can give some comments clearly, Chairman, relative to this and our intentions. And then I have been speaking with Carl Bernias, so I would appreciate that he be given the opportunity as well. Obviously, we want to see this church restored. I understand that a prior owner had this property, didn't do anything. Clearly, my client has had it for a short period of time, but has not maybe done what they should have done relative to getting it boarded up. But we have applied for the permits. As soon as those are approved, we will have it boarded up in a fashion that at least makes it safe. And my understanding is that this is kind of the remaining First Hungarian church left in Cleveland. And my client, JSC Properties, that's what they do. They restore properties. They have lots of historical properties throughout the state of Ohio. That through Kuhn Restoration and Great Lakes, they are restoration companies. It's their intention to restore this church, to be able to keep it work with others in the community and take whatever steps need to be taken so that this church can remain. So I guess my plea is that we at least be given the 6 months to show what we can do in that 6-month time frame, our intentions with the property, to see if we can't sway the community to see that it's worthwhile in trying to save this church.
Okay. Who else is going to be making comments? You mentioned someone else's name.
Yes, Carl Bernias from the Landmark.
Okay. Go ahead and proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Carl Brundis, Cleveland Landmark staff. The First Hungarian Lutheran Church was designated as a Cleveland landmark in April of 1983. And as such, it needs to go through the Cleveland Landmarks Commission process for any demolition, and this board cannot grant that. I will say that, yes, the property has fallen into disrepair over years, as mentioned. It's unfortunate that the congregation died out. I was in that building about 10, 12 years ago before I was employed here and heard their story. I signed off yesterday on a board permit for one property. They have applied for 3 more. There's 4 total properties. It's weird how this is done, and there's a second docket number, I believe, that is attached to this as well. The property line split the church and the school portion of it, and the house is also on the second portion. So they are applying, they have submitted their applications to Building and Housing. They need to be processed for the other 3 properties. The 2 properties to the north are the parking lots. So there are going to be 4 separate permits for board up, clean up, etc. So they are taking the steps that are required of them to do this. I know this is going to take longer than 6 months because it's a restoration process, cleanup process, building permit process will take a little bit of time. We will be working with them. We would ask for the 6 months, come back for a date certain, give a report, and then ask for another 6 months or as needed until the building is restored. They still have to go through our design review process. Thank you.
Okay. A question is that being it's in the landmarks, does it have to remain a church?
No, it does not. It can be adaptively reused into anything. We have seen churches adapted into residential, coffee shops, restaurants, many different uses. And that's what it can be into the same use or into a new use that requires minimal change to the exterior. They can reinvent the interior as much as they want. That we have as purview over the exterior.
So then the thought of it being the First Hungarian Church kind of goes out the window if it's being brought in as something else. Is that correct?
No, it's still in the history of the building. We have plenty of buildings that have been reused as something else, but we can still, it's still designated, and that's what its significance is under its cultural and architectural significance.
Okay. Is anyone else going to speak on this for the appellant?
No, thank you.
Okay. All right. Mr. Bannewer.
Mr. Chairman, Tom Vanover, Chief Building Official. This property was, this owner took possession of this property in 2020, according to our records. Nothing that Mr. Brunges has said will be impacted if the board remands this back to the department. It is a sizable structure, a sizable undertaking, but from the city's perspective, it is condemned and it needs to move forward. It's been 4 years in this condition, and we would ask that you remand it back to us. They can still go and do everything that they need to do. They can make applications, and they can get permits and they can do the work, and the Ohio Building Code will take precedent, but what they can't continue to do is nothing. So we ask that you remand it back to the Department of Building and Housing to force compliance so that we are not, so that we are able to do the work that we need to do to continue if there is a true path forward and there is a true plan, then we are not hamstrung from enforcing on the notice of violation. Another year, another 6 months even, with no activity is not acceptable.
Okay. Councilman, are you in favor of that?
I'm in favor of getting this building any way which is possible. I respect Landmark's position. I respect Ms. Mills' position. As the commissioner so eloquently said, we've been very patient. And once again, we are losing students to a prominent school. We have patients that don't want to come to a prominent hospital. We have neighbors that live in the area that yell at me every single day. And I'd ask some of these folks that are trying to support this, do they live next to this? Is this in their neighborhood? Do their children have to walk past this? I very rarely try to, exert passion whenever I'm advocating for something like this. But I need this building down. And I appreciate everybody's input. I hope that some of the people that are there can express the frustration to you guys that they've expressed to me. I've advocated to get this building down for the last 4 to 5 years. Nobody has done anything to it. It is an eyesore and a safety hazard. So yes, I agree with the commissioner's standpoint.
Okay, a motion is in order to deny more time to hand the property.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
did you want to hear testimony from the community that's here? They wanted to speak on the record.
How many are going to be speaking? Can one of you just
Two.
speak? Two? Okay. Go ahead, be brief if you can, and let you speak. Get on the record.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Ms. Davis. My name is Dave. I thought we swore.
Well, I swore everybody in that was going to be given testimony. You were included. So go ahead.
Oh, okay. My name is Dave Schroeder. I'm the president of Benedictine High School. I'm also a graduate of 1990. With me today is Abbot Gary Hoover, who's the abbot of Cleveland Benedictine. Just a quick brief intro. In 1922, the monks of Cleveland Benedictine moved to the Cleveland area. 5 years later, founded the school in 1987. We've been in the Buckeye neighborhood with our existing building since 1940. I am a graduate in 1990, so 35 years ago I graduated. So a proud alumnus and now the president of the school. One of my missions for the school is to grow our enrollment and continue to keep Benedictine alive and prosperous. We've been educating students in the Cleveland area and the surrounding suburbs for nearly 100 years. For those that may not know, we have over 11,000 alumni worldwide. Our demographics, 55% African American, 40% Caucasian, and 5% other. Our current enrollment is around 300 students. That's up 30% year over year. Due to our efforts over the past 2 years to rebrand Benedictine High School. We have monastic presence on site. However, Catholic school, however, we accept students of all races, all religions, and all creeds, and we give them a high school, college prep education in a faith-driven manner. My concerns with the property. Again, I'm a graduate in 1990. This property was vacant since I was a student. First impressions matter. Over 300 students call Benedictine home. That includes their families, their relatives, their brothers and sisters who come to Benedictine's campus for events, contests, and to pick their children up every day. Many of these families are new to the Buckeye neighborhood when they enter as freshmen. Their first impression as they turn off Shaker Boulevard onto Luther King is the welcoming sight of this very disturbing looking building that you're seeing on the screen here. We're expecting over 100 new families this year in the fall of 25. Just to put it in perspective, I've been the president for this is my second year. This year alone, we've learned that 8 families have told us that they are not attending Benedictine because of the neighborhood and the conditions surrounding. Just to put that in a financial perspective, 8 families at $16,000 a year times 4 years, that's $500,000 of lost revenue that Benedictine will not receive. That's just the families that tell us they're not coming. 6 of those families are alumni families, meaning their father went to Benedictine. They're concerned about the neighborhood. The health and safety, as Mr. Blaine Griffith had expressed, safety due to unmaintained structures, the overgrown vegetation. I have students that walk daily to school from neighboring neighborhoods, as well as to the RTA transit, and they have to pass this building. I've experienced and witnessed myself loitering and suspicious behavior outside of this building in the mornings and in the late evenings. There's been no progress. Contrary to what Mr. Carl had said, this church has been vacant for 30 years with no attempts to fix it. The current ownership since 2020 has made zero improvements other than a brand new piece of plywood that you're seeing in the photo. That's the only new thing that I've seen there. Several fires have damaged the property beyond repair. The property values in the neighborhood affected by properties like this, and this is a high-value corner that potentially could be ripe for potential commercial investment or usage by either the Cleveland Clinic or Benedictine High School. Finally, crime and drugs are potentially a hazard here. We serve a community of 14 through 18-year-olds that we are trying to keep the streets. So any temptation of these kinds of activities can be happening right next door as our children leave the school. So I plead with the community to help us take this building down and repurpose that land for other purposes. Thank you.
All right, thank you. There was one other person that was going to speak.
Yes, hello, Chairman and Ms. Davis. Thank you for letting me speak today. My name is Dr. Michelle Marks. I'm Medical Director of the Cleveland Clinic Children's Hospital for Rehabilitation, and I'm here with our Assistant Administrator, Gail Abrams, to represent our hospital. We reside directly across from the property and have similar concerns that were already expressed by Mr. Schroeder from Benedictine High School. I will just reiterate that this property is an eyesore, but also very dangerous. We have a children's hospital, but also a school on our property where we serve children from 30 counties as well, who are transported to our property every day and have to pass this property. We also have patients, as Mr. Griffin already stated, that refuse to come to our hospital after a tour because of the area, because of the neighborhood, and specifically looking at that property across the street. And talking about lost revenue, many of our admissions are worth, the patients are admissions are several $100,000. So that is a significant lost revenue to our hospital to not be able to have these patients come to our property. We feel very passionate and have advocated very strongly for this property to move forward with demolition for all the things we described. The other thing, as far as the safety of the neighborhood, we too have witnessed loitering, fires, several fires in the last couple of years of arson, but we've also had people come from that property from the corners and come into our building and steal things from our cafeteria. So again, I advocate for moving forward as the commissioner has suggested in a very rapid fashion, because this is not fair to the community.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I have one more comment, please. The last comment I'll make is when I heard Mr. Carl talk about the restoration plans, I would just challenge that because I had reached out to the property owner's real estate agent about a year and a half ago, inquiring about the property. At that point in time, they offered to sell the property to me for $400,000. So I was just curious as to the motivation for them holding on to this property. I'd like to challenge to see if there's actually a plan that they have for this, because my understanding this property has been requested a number of times to be torn down, only to be delayed by process of bring it off in another 6, 9, 12 months. I bet you will be right back here. But I find it curious that if there is this plan to renovate since 2020, why would we want to sell this property for $400,000? Thank you.
Okay, well, I think we're in favor of a motion is in order to deny more time, remand the property Division of Building and Housing for any further action. Motion?
So moved.
Okay, moved by Mr. Maskey, second by Mr. Denk.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Maschke,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes. Okay, notice will be sent out within 2 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to go back to the first two dockets, correct, Ms. Davis?
While we have the attorney up, did you want to go to their next case or did you want to go in the agenda order? It's up to you.
Oh, we're gonna follow we can follow the agenda order. Because that hopefully will be pretty quick.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll reopen building docket A 201-24, 2104 West 25th Street, and also building docket A 202-24, 2098 West 25th Street.
Application and fees are in order.
Mr. Chairman, through the chairman to Ms. Davis, I apologize for the interruption. The docket A 205-24, which mirrored the docket of A 206-24, did we address that one?
No, it's gonna go in order of the
No.
agenda.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
It'll
okay.
come up.
With that, unless I didn't know, the councilman wants to stay on with that one?
Councilman
He's
Griffin
fine.
already left.
Okay, all right.
I think his primary concern was the church.
Okay, very good. Okay. All right, I see what you were saying. Okay. All right, so that being the case, let's open up those two.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violations is exterior maintenance. Issued on October 1st of 2024. Appeal was received on October 30th of 2024, requesting for 6 months to complete abatement of the violations. Present for today's hearing, Chief Billing Official Tom Vanover, Dan Jacobson, Law. Will the attorney or will the appellant or his or her representative please state your name for the record?
Good morning, everybody. Rico Petro and David Leb are here on behalf of ownership. We are the co-owners of the property.
Okay, we're not going to swear you in yet. See, Ms. Davis, is there something that you're going to read to us about these
Yes.
two properties? Please do.
Mr. Chairman, I received an email this morning from the gentleman that just announced himself as the new or co-owners of this property. They were not the owners at the time that these appeal was filed with the board. Which at that time, the owners were United 25th Building LLC. If these buildings has in fact transferred to new ownership, the previous appellant has not contacted this board to withdraw their appeal.
Okay. So given that these are transferred properties, I'm going to be dismissing both of these cases, and I'm going to allow a city if they want to make a comment to that. Mr. Vanover.
So, Mr. Chairman, if I could, if you could define dismiss, right? These notices of violation were issued to the previous owner on the property, and simply selling the property or transferring the property does not relieve the previous owners from their responsibility to correct the violations. It only relieves them of the ability to do that because they don't own it anymore. So when you say when you're going to dismiss, what does that mean? You're going to dismiss these appeals as improper, or you're expecting to dismiss the notice of violations as improper?
Yeah, I guess it would be the notice, the notices right now is what we're dismissing because like you said, they can't be transferred to the new owners. So they would have to either be working with you or you would be citing them. Does that make sense?
It does make sense, Mr. Chairman, but the previous owners are still responsible for the order that was given to them. So I would object to dismissing the notices of violation because they were properly issued. They were properly issued to the previous owner, and that owner still has a responsibility to correct the notices of violation as issued.
So, yeah, I guess a little clarification is that then we would just not be hearing these new owners, correct?
Mr. Chairman, that's a question for your legal counsel, but the new owners have not been cited or ordered to do anything.
Okay. And so these still exist. The problems to the old, like you said, it doesn't transfer. I don't think they're here. Is that correct, Ms. Davis?
Through the chair, Mr. Chairman, that is correct. The previous owner, United 25th Building LLC, is not present for today's hearing.
Mr. Chairman, we would ask that in the transfer and sale of this property, if the current owners have authority to speak for United 25th LLC on this matter.
Through the chair,
Mr.
yep, go on, Patty.
No, you go ahead, Vishnu.
I was just going to say that the new owners have not been cited in this case. They're not before the board. This is for United 25th Building LLC.
And Mr. Chairman, this is Patty. I'll piggyback on Vishnu's. You haven't sworn anyone in. You're only hearing as to jurisdiction right now. I think you're meaning that you're only dismissing the appeals. You're not hearing the merits of any notices. So you wouldn't be ruling as to the merits of any notices.
So that's what we're doing.
Mr. Chairman, Dan Jacobson from Law, I would ask that we read in the notice requirement for the property owner United 25th Building that was cited on the VNs, and then go through the notice requirement and ask that the appeals be denied and the matters remanded back to Building and Housing.
Okay. So we're going to deny to the new owners and that it be motion is in order to deny more time and remand the property division of Building and Housing for any further action.
That's what I would push for, but I would ask if I could read into the record the notice requirement.
I think they didn't they do that in the beginning?
No. Mr. Chairman.
Yes. Go ahead, Ms. Davis.
25th.
Again, Dan Jacobson from the Law Department, through the chairman to Ms. Davis. And for the record, what dockets are we on?
Through the chair to Mr. Jacobson, we are currently hearing dockets A 201-24 and docket A 202-24. One second. I ask if you have your mic unmuted to please mute your mic until you're asked to give testimony. We are getting a lot of feedback. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Davis. And regarding both mentioned dockets, through the chairman to Ms. Davis, did you receive notice? Did notice of today's hearings get returned to the board's file for any reason?
Through the chair to Mr. Jacobson, the notices to United 25th Building LLC did not come back as undeliverable. However, the board received notice from new owners of their intentions on rehabbing the structures.
Okay, to the chairman, the due process requirement of notice having been given to the owners at the time of the VNs, United 25th Building, having been given to that appellant, the board can proceed with its hearing and ruling today. Thank you.
Okay. So going back to Mr. Vanover, we had taken the motion in order to deny more time, remand the property division of building and housing for any further action. And we have a motion and a second on that. We just need, unless you have other further comment, we just need to take the roll.
I have no further comment.
Okay, take the roll, Ms. Davis.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes. Okay, notice will be sent out within 2 weeks. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
we have a question on the screen from one of the co-owners, of the new owners of the alleged property.
Well, I don't think we're gonna hear them. They just need to deal with the city. And if they get their stuff in order, however they're proceeding, that's what they need to do. So they need to talk to the city at this point.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Next docket, building docket A 209-24 8810 Bessemer Avenue.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is condemnation of the main structure. Issued on October 24th of 2024. Appeal was received on November 12th of 2024, requesting for 1 year to complete abatement of the violations. Present for today's hearing, Chief Billing Official Tom Vanover, Dan Jacobson, Law. Would the applicant or his or her attorney and or representative please state your first and last name and your relationship for the record?
Bamford, of 8812, 8810, Bessemer Avenue.
Okay, Mr. Bedford, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay, go ahead and proceed. Let us know what the plans are.
And we just took over these properties in August. And as soon as we got the deed in our hand, we were served with a demolition notice. And we had already started moving forward on some of the cleanups around the building, into the building. And there's a couple more projects that we're involved with. And we're here now because we were told that we need a timetable.
Okay, did you submit one?
Pardon me?
Did you submit one to the city?
I'm not sure if we submitted a timetable or not.
Oh.
We're waiting on a hearing, and this is the first hearing that we've been involved with since we took over ownership of the building.
Okay, let me go over to Mr. Vanover.
So, Mr. Chairman, this is a condemned building. It's been in this condition for some time. It was, they took possession in August, then it was in this condition when they took possession of it. We object to a year. We would expect permits to rehab the building to be in place very quickly. As you can see from the photos, the building's in advanced condition of decay. It doesn't sound like there's much of a plan. I would like to hear what the actual plan and use and final disposition of the building is.
Okay, we'll go back to the owner, Mr. Bedford.
Yes.
Okay, so what is your plan?
Was the plan for use of the building or the plan for and the building? What's the plan?
Yes, that's what we're looking for, how you're gonna rehab.
Okay, basically, we have been waiting on the weather to break because there is gonna need a the roof to be in place. We wanted to change the roof, and there's some electrical issues and some plumbing issues also. So basically, we just been waiting on the weather to break, which is now breaking. So we still gonna need some time to go in there and put a plan together to install a new roof. Okay, that's gonna be our first of. It's gonna be the first procedure that we're gonna get involved with now that we have the building. But if this building has been in deplorable shape all this time, we just took ownership of the building basically in October, and it seemed like everything's coming down on us. And I don't know what had been done or said to the previous owner that was involved with the property, but as the inspector, he said there were some complaints. Somebody had there was an anonymous complaint involved with this order for the repair of the building.
Okay, so I guess what the city was looking for, what your plans are, that we can see the roof, and the roof's in bad shape. You mentioned some plumbing, so and Mr. Vanover indicated that it's not going for a year, but if you have something reasonable that you can get what you're gonna do, then go ahead and spell it out.
Okay, like I said before, we just getting involved on this project, and we did the complete cleanup inside the building. Okay, so our next plan is to go and start a roof before we can make any electrical repairs, and that's where we are now. We need to pull some permits for the roof project, and go from there.
Mr. Chairman, to the public, what do you plan to do with the building when it's finished?
Me?
Yes.
Okay, it's gonna be a storage facility, just basically for storage. And I have some car collection. Then I have some tow trucks and stuff like that. So basically, that's what it's gonna be for.
So, Mr. Chairman, just for the record, this is a condemned building, so all the permits won't be required. Building mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. We do not object to 90 days to get all the permits, 180 days to correct the violation notice, with the understanding that as a condemned building, it cannot be occupied or used until it is brought out of condemnation and a new certificate of occupancy is issued.
Okay, so we got a motion for 90 days to get the permits, 180 days. And what was it that you said for the 180 days, Mr. Vanover?
With the understanding that by law, as a condemned building, it can't be used or occupied until the condemnation has been lifted.
So it's not gonna be occupied. Other than
And Mr. Chairman, that includes the interior of the building and the exterior yard and everything. You can't run a business out of a condemned structure on a condemned premises until the violations have been corrected.
Okay, so that's what you got, 90 days to get your permits and 180 days to take care of the violations of the building. And you can't operate until you get that done. Okay, we get, did I hear so moved?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
can we get date certains, please?
Yes, we can. 90 days would be June 25th, 2025, and September 25th, 180 days, 2025. Motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Maskey.
Second?
Second by Mr. Bradley.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes. Notice will be sent out within 2 weeks. Thank you. Okay, next docket is A 210-24, 8812 Bessemer Avenue.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is condemnation of the main structure issued on October 24th of 2024. Appeal was received November 12th of 2024, requesting for 1 year to complete abatement of the violations. Present for today's hearing, Chief Billing Official Tom Vanover, Dan Jacobson Law. Will the applicant or his or her attorney and/or representative please state your name for the record and a relationship to the property?
How you doing today? My name is Dave Robinson. Property.
Well, is this Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Go ahead and let us know what the plans are.
So we just received a property through the foreclosure auction back in September, and then they stormed us with everything. So our plan was to come in, get the building back up to code, and start a storage company, and then we'll also do like a liquidation sale where you sell appliances and stuff like that. And we just was trying to get a little more time to do it because it's a big project, and we just had to get everything in order. We really, the way it came about, we didn't know we was gonna have to move in such a fast time, and the way that we didn't know. It seemed like we just getting all the backlash of the previous owner, but that ain't a problem. We just was seeing, can we get more time to get this project rolling?
Okay, Mr. Vanover.
So, Mr. Chairman, I mean, unfortunately, this is, how these things go is, in foreclosure sales, you bid on a property and beat somebody else, and then they get mad about it, and it's brought to the city's attention. We would mirror the previous, the previous recommendation from the next door property, in that 90 days to get permits, and then 180 days to abate with no use or occupancy until the violations are corrected.
Okay, so we're looking at a motion is for June 25th, 90 days, 2025 to obtain the permits, and the September 25th, 180 days, 2025 to abate the violations with no use of the building until it's all completed. Motion? Okay, moved by Mr. Bradley.
Second.
Second by Mr. Dink.
Mr. Bradley?
Yes.
Mr. Maschke?
Yes.
Mr. Dink?
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher?
Yes. Okay, notice will be sent out within 2 weeks. Thank you. Okay, next docket, building docket A 263-24, 7531/7541 Broadway Avenue.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is exterior maintenance issued on November 13th of 2024. Appeal was received on December 13th of 2024, requesting for 7 months to complete abatement of the violations. Present for today's hearing, Chief Billing Official Tom Vanover, Dan Jacobson Law. I also see Crystal, I believe you are here on behalf of Councilman Rebecca Moore. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Would the applicant or his or her attorney and/or representative please state your name for the record? Mr. Chairman, I do not see Mark. I can't make out his last name on the application. or anybody from WMW Management in the participants panel, nor is that person present in room 514 this morning.
Okay. Mr. Vanover, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? You're probably muted, maybe.
No.
Okay. Okay, Mr. What are we looking for? Okay, we're looking, Mr. Jacobson. Mr. Jacobson?
Thank you. Through the chairman to Ms. Davis, did notice of today's hearing get returned to the board's file for any reason?
Through the chair to Mr. Jacobson, no.
Through the chairman to Ms. Davis, have you received any form of communication, an email, a voice message, or anything physically delivered to you on behalf of this appellant and or docket?
Through the chair to Mr. Jacobson, no.
To the chairman, the due process requirement of notice having been given to this appellant, the board can proceed with its hearing and ruling today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Did you swear in Councilman Rebecca Moore's representative?
No, we did not. But we can right now. So do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, so you wanted to make a comment on this? Go ahead.
Good morning. My name is Crystal Sierra, and I'm the Planning Director for Slavic Village Development. I'm testifying today on behalf of SVD and Ward 12 Councilwoman Rebecca Moyer's office. The building at 7521 Broadway is a two-story storefront with walk-up apartments adjacent to Stella Walsh Recreation Center and South High, which is utilized by youth of South Broadway and is the new first responders training complex and recreation facility. We first reported the external violations and bricks crumbling onto the sidewalk at the frontage of 7531 in April of 2024. We reported the falling brick and an OVV again in July of 2024. There are 7 storefront addresses at this location under a single parcel number, so there might have been some confusion about what addresses to report. The addresses of the 2 buildings in question are 7531 Broadway and 7535 Broadway under one parcel number, which is 133-10001. Regardless, the property owner has had almost a year to correct these external violations, yet has taken no action but to request an extension from this board. In January of 2025, we documented fallen brick in the public right-of-way again. Then on March 18th, just last week, we took additional photos, which you see on the screen, which shows the frontage still crumbling onto the sidewalk. The property is currently delinquent in property taxes since 2023, and 6 of the 7 storefronts here are vacant. We object to any extension on the external violation and ask that the citation is issued today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Vanover.
So, Mr. Chairman, the photographs speak for themselves. We ask that you deny any more time and remand it back to the Department of Building and Housing so that we can hold the owners accountable before this problem becomes a greater problem.
Okay, motion is in order to deny more time, remand the property to Division of Building and Housing for any further action.
So move.
Okay, moved by Mr. Bradley.
Second.
Second by Mr. Maskey.
Mr. Bradley?
Yes.
Mr. Maskey?
Yes.
Mr. Dink?
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher?
Yes, notice will be sent out within 2 weeks. Next docket is Housing Docket A 200-24, 6411 Dibble Avenue.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is fire damage. Issued on September 25th of 2024. Appeal was received on October 30th of 2024, requesting for 6 months to complete abatement of the violations. Present for today's hearing, Chief Billing Official Tom Vanover, Dan Jacobson, Law. Will the applicant or his or her attorney and or representative please state your name for the record? Mr. Chairman, I do not see a Richard Glenn in the participants panel, nor is that person present in room 514 this morning.
Okay, Mr. Vanover, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, Mr. Jacobson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through the chairman to Ms. Davis, did notice of today's hearing get returned to the board's file for any reason?
Through the chair to Mr. Jacobson, no.
And through the chairman to Ms. Davis, have you received any form of communication, an email, a voice message, or anything physically delivered to you on behalf of this appellant and or docket?
Through the chair to Mr. Jacobson, no.
To the chairman, the due process requirement of notice have been given to this appellant. The board can proceed with its hearing and ruling today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Vanover.
So, Mr. Chairman, without the appellant present, it's challenging. Today does actually mark the 6-month period from the date that the violation notice was issued. And there's been no communication that this has been corrected or any other information provided. It does appear that this is an owner-occupied structure. It was purchased in 2009 by a private person. But other than that, without further information, we would ask that you deny more time and remand it back to the Department of Building and Housing.
A motion is in order to deny more time and remand the property to the Division of Building and Housing for any further action.
So move.
Moved by Mr. Bradley,
Second.
second by Mr. Denk.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Maschke,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes. Notice to be sent out within 2 weeks. Housing docket A 203-24, 3497 West 125th Street has been withdrawn. Okay, so we'll move on to the next docket. Housing docket A 204-24, 7700 Colgate Avenue.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is fire damage. Issued on October 7th of 2024. Appeal was received on November 7th of 2024, requesting for 120 days to complete abatement of the violations. Present for today's hearing, Chief Billing Official Tom Vanover, Dan Jacobson, Law. Will the appellant or his or her attorney and a representative please state your name for the record?
Michael Valentine.
Okay, Mr. Valentine, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, go ahead and let us know what the plans are.
Yes. So our roofer has been in contact with the insurance company. He had received samples for the siding. It was not the correct color, so he had sent out for a second sampling. If that does match, he will get it corrected. If it is also not a match, at that point, he will need to go back to the insurance company and ask for an entire re-siding of the building. So depending on when that sample comes back, it'll either just be a quick fix, or we got to circle back and see if the insurance company is willing to re-side the entire house.
Okay, so how much time are you thinking you're needing if everything goes right?
Best case scenario, 30 days. Worst case scenario, probably 90 days. So I would say 90 days just to be on the safe side.
Okay, Mr. Vanover.
Mr. Chairman, to Mr. Mosquera, do you live in this home?
No, nobody, the owner does not live in the house, no.
Through the chairman to the appellant, this is Dan Jacobson from Law. Mr. Valentine, what is your relationship to the property owner?
Operations manager. I work for the property management company that oversees the building for him.
Are you, Mr. Valentine, through the chairman to Mr. Valentine, are you part of Fisher Asset Management?
Yes, sir.
Does your phone number end in 1858 with that company?
That is my personal cell phone, yes.
Okay. Oh.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, we don't object to 90 days to complete the abatement of the violations.
Okay, so a motion is in order for June 25th, 90 days, 2025 to abate the violations. Motion?
So move.
Moved by Mr. Bradley,
Second.
second by Mr. Denk.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Maschke,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes. Okay, notice will be sent out within 2 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you. Everyone have a wonderful day.
You too.
Thank you.
Okay, housing docket A 205-24, 2836 East Boulevard.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is condemnation of the main structure. Issued on August 15th of 2024. Appeal was received on September 19th of 2024, requesting for 90 days to complete abatement of the violations. Present for today's hearing, Chief Billing Official, Tom Vanover, Dan Jacobson, Law. Will the appellant or his or her attorney and/or representative please state your name for the record? Mr. Chairman, it looked like the attorney, Ms. Mills, logged off and is not currently on with us.
Okay.
We do have the community here to give testimony on this property as well.
Okay. Whoever's going to be given testimony, how many people or what's the name of the person going to be given testimony?
Mr. Chairman, we have two.
Two. Okay. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
Okay, very good. Go ahead and let us know what your comments are.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, this is Dave Shroy, the president of Benedictine High School again. Refer to my previous testimony on the other docket. In the sake of time, it's the same testimony that I would give.
Okay, very good. And?
Yeah, this is Dr. Michelle Marks. I'm medical director of the Children's Rehab Hospital. I also spoke earlier on the original property or the church property, and my testimony is the same.
Okay.
However, I will say that this is the burned out property, and if we can move forward and do something and separate the, do something with this part of the property, I would actually advocate for demolition to continue on this piece.
Okay, very good. Mr. Vanover.
So, Mr. Chairman, this is a neighboring property to the property we discussed earlier. What I don't know is if this property is an individual landmark or simply in a landmark district. I believe all of this portion of East Boulevard and Martin Luther King is landmark district. Obviously, from the photographic evidence, this property is in worse shape than the previous one. It is condemned. And short of any testimony to the contrary, it does not appear that there is a solid plan to move forward on rehab. And as such, we ask that you deny any more time and remand it back to the Department of Building and Housing.
Motion is in order to deny more time, remand the property division of Building and Housing for any further action. Motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mr.
Second.
Dink, second by Mr. Maskey.
Mr. Bradley? Mr. Bradley?
Yes.
Mr. Maskey?
Yes.
Mr. Dink?
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher?
Yes. Okay, notice to be sent out within 2 weeks. Thank you. Next docket, housing docket A 208-24, 10625 Englewood Avenue.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is condemnation of the main structure issued on April 20th of 2021. Appeal was received on November 6th of 2024. Applicant did not specify how much time they would need to abate the violations. Present for today's hearing, Chief Building Official Tom Vanover, Dan Jacobson Law. Will the applicant or his or her attorney and or representative please state your name for the record?
Nikki Bird.
Okay, Ms. Bird, solemnly affirm or swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead and let us know what your plans are.
So the property has been 100% rehabbed. I'm not sure, I'm not seeing the pictures that I submitted on this, except for the 2 pictures on the right. I don't know what those other pictures are. The entire home has been rehabbed. I purchased the home in March 2024 from the sheriff's sale, and I received the deed in May 2024. The house has been appraised. The house has been checked, had a lead base assessment. I invested additional $25,000 in the house. The chimney has been rebuilt. The floors have been done. There's new cabinets. There's new appliances. Section 8 has inspected the house. I got an appraisal on the house. When I purchased the house in March of 2024 from the sheriff's sale, 80% of the rehab was already completed. There's new vinyl siding. The chimneys have been rebuilt. There's a new front porch. There's a new back porch. There's a new roof. I installed new windows. Yeah, I said flooring, windows. There's new cabinets. There's all new appliances in the home. Again, I'll state that I just received that there's no lead in the house, so I passed a lead test last month. And when the house was purchased in May 2024, it had foreclosed on a company, Ohio BA Flips, who was in the process of flipping the house. Apparently, they must have run out of money or something, but the house foreclosed on them. So when I purchased it, most of the work had been done. There's a new hot water tank. There's a brand new furnace. There's brand new wiring. Again, I'm not seeing the pictures that I submitted, so you can't really get, I can share my screen. I can try to bring them up for you to show you that the house has been completely 100% rehabbed, inspected. Again, there's a tenant in there, Section 8. The taxes are current.
We got a couple issues. See, one shows no permit, so you're saying it did have an inspection done?
Well, what happened was the previous owner had pulled permits on the property for electrical and plumbing, and it foreclosed. I guess it must have foreclosed on them prior to getting the inspection. But when I purchased it, the plumbing and the electrical was already done. So I didn't really have to do that. I did, have someone come out and inspect the furnace, hot water tank. It was brand new though. Again, everything in the home is brand new. It's a brand new, completely rehabbed home. New roof, brand new roof.
What about rental registration?
I applied for rental registration, paid my $72 for that. I was waiting. They said my registration was null until I received the land inspection. The land inspection has been delivered to the county. So that is current and up to date. I did pass that lead inspection test. Again, all brand new windows, all new vinyl siding, new electrical, plumbing, brand new flooring throughout, new cabinets, new appliances. There's been a tenant in there since August 2024. Section 8 came out and also did a inspection. And again, an appraiser came out and appraised the home. So there's been an appraisal that, and taxes, again, taxes are current. So at this point, to be honest, when I purchased a home via the foreclosure sale, I didn't, this was my first investment property, and I didn't know, that the home was on the condemned list. So I was kind of surprised when you guys reached out to me to let me know that the home was on the condemned list. But, the previous owners had invested a ton of money in the house. They did the new vinyl siding and the new roof. But then I went in and I invested another $25,000 in the home, putting on, getting the chimneys rebuilt, new flooring and getting some of the inside, new painting, everything. I did send you guys the appraisal of the house with the photos of the house. It has the photos of the electrical. It has a photo of the plumbing, the hot water tank, the floors. There's carbon monoxide and alarms and stuff in the home on each floor in every room. Again, so at this point, I don't know. I mean, there's nothing else that I can do really to the property. There's been a ton of money invested. I even, did the landscaping. And so I didn't know that it was on the condemned list again. But those two pictures on the left, that was probably, that could have been the home prior to the rehab, but you can see the difference. The bathroom's been redone. There's new fixtures, new light fixtures. There's new tub, new toilet, new vanity, new flooring. Everything's been redone.
Very good. Let me go over to the chief building inspector, Mr. Vanover, and find out what might be missing.
Okay.
So, Mr. Chairman, there was a certificate of disclosure for this property in 2003 to a Shelby Allen. It doesn't appear that there was another certificate of disclosure on the sheriff's sale. For the record, Mr. Chairman, this property is still condemned. The previous permits were pulled, but they were closed non-compliant because they were not finished and they were not, the inspections were not conducted. And then all of the work that was put into the property after that was done without a permit and without approval. So the property is still condemned and will remain condemned until permits are pulled and inspections are conducted and a certificate of occupancy is issued. And as a condemned structure, the occupancy of that structure is unlawful. So there's an expectation there that the permits, regardless of who performed the work, when one takes possession of the property, they receive, they take responsibility for the property. So there are no final inspections. There is no certificate of occupancy. And currently this property remains condemned.
So, Ms. Bird?
Yes, I'll add that the reason why there isn't a certificate of occupancy, because I did pay for the $72 to receive that, I was told was because it needed a lead-based assessment test and that I needed to get that certificate in there. There has been a lead-based assessment test. If there's no certificate of occupancy, I mean, they did accept the $72 that I didn't receive that back.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, I believe that the appellant is mistaking the rental registration for the certificate of occupancy.
Oh, yes, you're right.
Once a structure is condemned, the only way to make it not condemned is to pull a mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and building permits to make the corrections, have that inspected, finalized by the inspector, and then submitted for a certificate of occupancy with the department. That has not been completed, and the challenge comes now is the ability to inspect all of the work that's been covered up. As you can see in the photo in the bottom left, there's been internal plumbing repairs and wall repairs and things of that nature. So we don't object to more time, but we need the record to show that this structure is currently still condemned and that its occupancy is unlawful until a new certificate of occupancy is issued. And that'll require permits being pulled, inspections conducted.
So you're gonna have to pull all of the permits and have it inspected. And so
Yeah.
whatever the inspector requires to be able to verify that the work was done according to code. Okay?
Yeah,
So
so,
that's what you're gonna need to do, and then you can get your occupancy done and you'll be all set. So
yeah,
how much time do you think you need to get that done?
well, I don't know, because first I was told in order to get that done, even because the work was already done, that I would have to tear out all the ceilings, tear out all the walls, open up the plumbing. I mean,
Not
we're-
necessarily, okay? If they can look and find, the only way that would happen is if they find that it wasn't done right, then you may have to do that. But if sometimes the inspector can go in and look at areas and say, okay, this looks like it was done correct, so you don't have to tear the whole thing out, but I may have to look at a couple spots to make sure. If he finds that it's not right, then you're correct. You may have to tear a lot of things out, but I would get the permits and get the inspection done. And I don't know if the board members have any advice or anything you want to say.
No.
I mean, to pull permits, of course, I can't pull the permits. An LLC cannot pull permits. So if I were to get, I guess I would have to find a random contractor to pull permits, even though the work has already been done. I don't know if that's gonna, I don't know how that process works either, just to find someone just to pull permits that hasn't done any of the work, or who
Well, how
won't.
about whoever did the work?
Well, again, the work was done by a previous company that was flipping the house. I did get, like the furnace and stuff inspected. It was all brand new. That's the problem. The previous owners, and they had it on the market for $90,000, but it foreclosed before they could sell the property. But they're a company that's based in California. I have no idea who they got hired to do the work, but I've been having a problem finding a random contractor who will come in and just pull permits for me, and they didn't do the work. So, I mean, I don't, I don't want the brand new house to be torn down because the issue with finding a contractor to pull permits when they did not do the work and will not do the work. And so I don't really understand how that process will work going forward.
But somebody in the area did the work. And so I think you need to contact whoever that was that did do the work. That would be your best bet, I would say.
Yeah, they were flippers based in California. And I guess their team did the
But
work.
they must have used some people here locally. They weren't coming from California to rebuild the house. So-
Yeah,
So probably somebody here. And that's what you need to find out, because you're going to have to get a contractor to do it.
to just pull the permits.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Chairman, yes, so there's somebody's gonna have to take responsibility as a registered contractor to do this. So it does seem like there's considerably more understanding of what is needed to happen, but perhaps just a reluctance to do that. The board, obviously the board in this hearing doesn't have the authority to grant a certificate of occupancy. And the brand new house is brand new illegally, and quite possibly, contrary to code and contrary to, and possibly unsafe. The risk of not doing it is that a vacate order is issued to vacate the property. And as the appellant stated, it remains condemned and subject to demolition until such a time as a certificate of occupancy is issued. And it appears that the appellant is aware of what needs to get done. And it's just a matter of getting that process in place and getting it done. So we would ask, we would ask for no more than 30 days for permits to be pulled and, well, 30 days to abate the condemnation notice.
Okay, maybe what we'll do is we'll give you 30 days to pull the permits. So you're gonna have to get a contractor, get it pulled, and if they have to tear things up, that maybe so 30 days, April 25th, 2025, and 60 days to abate whatever is left in violations, May 25th, 2025. Motion? Moved by Mr. Bradley.
Second.
Okay, second by Mr. Maskey.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes. Okay, a notice will be sent out within 2 weeks. Good luck. All right, next docket is reopening housing docket A 192-24, 1380 East 85th Street.
Application and fees are in order. Notice of violation is no permit, rental registration, and interior and exterior maintenance. Issued on September 25th of 2024. Appeal was received October 21st of 2024, requesting for 180 days to complete abatement of the violations. Present for today's hearing, Chief Billing Official Tom Vanover, Dan Jacobson Law. Will the applicant or his or her attorney and/or representative please state your name for the record?
Hello, my name is Kimberly Thomas, and this is Anthony Thomas, and we're the owners of the property.
Okay, both of you is going to be speaking, or just you, Ms. Cummins?
Just me.
Okay, solemnly, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, go ahead and proceed. Let us know. What's your plan?
All of these issues have been corrected.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't know where to submit pictures. I believe that the permits have been pulled, and I hope you have records of that. I don't think you had a record of the electrical. I didn't have it at the time, but I did have the tag. Sorry, I didn't know where to put this. That I got from the house at the time, the electrical, because I know when I hired the GC, he said that it had already been pulled, and when he went down to pull the permits, he didn't need to pull the electrical one because it showed that it had already been pulled, but it didn't show that it had been closed. But I only had the tag because this was pulled back in 2022. This is all I have from the engineer who pulled it.
Okay, Mr. Vanover.
Mr. Chairman, it does appear that there was the electrical permit pulled in 22 and then has since been closed. There's a building permit that was pulled earlier this year that is remains open and has not been closed as final, but I believe that satisfies the no permit the no permit violation notice, and I'm looking to see if it appears that the rental registration, the renewal is in progress, which means that there's they're reviewing it, and there may or may be required additional information.
There is, and I'm property manager is getting all of that stuff together as soon as we clear out all of these things, because it was still in the system that these violations were in order.
So how much time is needed?
So I'm asking for
6 days, maybe?
yeah, you said 60 days?
Yes.
I don't know. Let's say 180 days, because I want to make sure everything gets in place and I don't have to come back and do this. So so that we can have everything in place.
So, Mr. Chairman, two of the violation notices have already been closed. And that is the permit and the rental registration. However, there is an interior exterior maintenance violation notice that is still open. We don't, given the testimony, we don't object to 60 days to, but no more than that. If everything is done, it's important to respond for rental registration and then to verify with the inspector on the final interior exterior violation notice to verify that work is completed and that they can close that. If they close that, then there will be no need for any further action.
That's fine with me. I'll make that happen.
Okay, May 25th, 2025, that's 60 days to abate the violations. Motion?
So move.
Moved by Mr. Bradley,
Second.
second by Mr. Maskey.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes. Okay, notice will be sent out within 2 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
The approval of resolutions. Is there a comment? Okay, so we go to approval of resolutions. Let's take a look and see what we have here. All right, A 190-24, A 91-24, A 93-24, A 94-24, A 95-24, A 96-24, A 97-24, A 98-24, A 267-23. Motion?
A 192.
So moved.
We're not doing A 192 because we just approved this. So, Mr. Maskey, that motion, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Dink.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes. Okay, approval of minutes for March 12th, 2025. Are there any additions or corrections?
No.
Motion.
So moved.
Okay, moved by Mr. Maskey,
Second.
second by Mr. Dink.
Mr. Bradley,
Yes.
Mr. Maskey,
Yes.
Mr. Dink,
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher.
Yes. Okay, is there any other business to come before us?
No.
All right, we are now adjourned.
Thanks, guys. Have a good week.
Okay, you
Thank you. Thanks.